Resuming the meeting again at 10:25. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Director, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mary Adams, absent. Anthony Cunacchio.
Here.
John Donnelly, absent. John DeGrace.
Present.
Arnold Trucker, present. George Gordon.
Present.
Edward Powers.
Present.
Kathy Weiss, absent. Jocelyn Medina.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Drucker. The board has a decision to render on the interview process. The 6 members of the Board of Trustees who were present tonight did not achieve a unanimous vote on either of the 2 candidates put forth by the Presidential Search Committee, and as a result, the matter will be referred to a future board meeting. We're going to go to approval of the minutes. The minutes of the meeting on June 18, 2013 were presented for approval. Do I have a motion for the minutes?
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All opposed? All again, all for?
Aye.
Any abstain? Okay. Mr. Cunacchio, a report on the temporary committee on the presidential search?
Nothing much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's nothing much to report. The subcommittee, Kimberly Reiser, Lynn Mazzola, and Jason Gorman, did yeoman's work in preparing for the campus or interviews, town meetings, put out literature that was necessary. And the board met tonight for board action. We need 6 votes, and we did not get 6 votes, either for or against any candidate. So it has to be referred to a future board meeting. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case. So I don't think there's anything else to report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cunacchio. We will start with the speakers list. Kimberly Reiser. Ed, would you be able to count for the 3 minutes, please? I'm sorry. Would you be able to give us a 3-minute count, please?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. I guess I'm a little confused about it. I don't know if you could clarify in terms of what the board's intention is now regarding the 2 candidates. When you say this is referred to another board meeting, is the search going to be reopened? The faculty and I think the entire college would like information. Can you share that?
Sure. At this point in time, we had 6 members of the board tonight. As you know, we only have 10 members in total. For any decision to be made, you need to have 6.
Yeah.
For tonight, would have had to have been a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
No unanimous decision was reached on either candidate, so at this time, that aspect of the committee, the search committee has been halted. We will have to refer back to the Presidential Search Committee, and we will discuss amongst ourselves in September how the process will continue.
I guess I still don't understand. So does this mean that the 2 candidates that came to campus are no longer under consideration?
Correct.
No.
They can be considered again. How would you like to?
They have not
they were
been
not approved.
rejected, they have not been accepted. We don't have 6 votes either way. So we're going to have to wait for direction for another board meeting when we have a quorum. When we have 6 votes, it's going to let us know what we're going to do. Are they going to re-interview these people or not re-interview these people? Are we going to have a whole new search or not have a whole new search? Because at this point, I'm busy. I'm sure people on the search committee are busy, and we really have to know which way we're going in. It's funny, but it's not really that funny, because I know the amount of time that you and your two colleagues put in, a tremendous amount of time.
I think that's an important point. The Presidential Search Committee has, under very adverse conditions over the last few months, multiple months, performed a fantastic job on presenting to the Board of Trustees 3 candidates that were brought down to 2. The way I see it, and I will have to get legal opinion just to make sure, the way I understand the process is, and again, please, I will defer to legal, is that if you don't have 6 votes to advance a candidate, it stops there. And at that point, it'll be up to the Board of Trustees. The Presidential Search Committee will probably be reactivated again to go back and do another search. Again, that'll be something that will be taken up under discussion. We will check with legal counsel just to find out what the letter is. But that's not going to be solved tonight. All I can say is that at this point, neither of the 2 candidates, they were both excellent candidates. They both interviewed well. We spent a long time deliberating. Everybody put in a lot of time and energy here on the board tonight. But neither of the candidates are being advanced.
Okay. I guess I sort of understand. But
Kimberly, welcome to my world, because I sort of understand also.
But truly, if I could make my comments now, I think that there is more. There are 2 human beings involved here, and I am really very sad to hear that there isn't a definitive answer this evening, because as I'm sure the board is aware, these 2 candidates lost their jobs because they were finalists here. So I'm sure
only one of them lost a job.
Well,
Dr. Zolfo is retained at Dowling.
Well, I know she's retained, but she is no longer interim president because of her application here and her finalist position. But in any event, I think that it would be very important for the board to be able to give these 2 candidates information about whether they are still going to be considered for this position or not. So I would really urge you to determine how you are moving forward for the candidates. In terms of the presidential search process, I would like to say, from my perspective as a member of the search committee, it was very validating to hear the responses from our colleagues who attended the forums. So many people said to us that they believe that the search committee did a good job, and they really appreciate.
I have to correct you. I think the search committee did an exemplary job.
And they appreciated the legitimacy of the search. I do feel compelled tonight to refer to the Chancellor's actions. And you recall, I'm sure, that on May 30th, the search committee provided each of the trustees with a document with evidence countering each of the Chancellor's allegations. Many of them made by members of the campus community regarding racism and bias. This was delivered to the Chancellor. It was sent to each individual SUNY trustee, and the legal counsel at SUNY, Bill Howard, who was here, who's also secretary of the board, he still has not given our packet to the SUNY trustees. I think that speaks volumes, and I would think that you, our board representatives, would want to know why the Chancellor is interfering with dissemination of information that counters her allegations. Lastly, I'd really like to thank the trustees who served on the search committee. It was a very valuable experience to me. I feel honored to have worked on that search committee. I would encourage you to reopen the search the search firm has committed to us. We don't want to have to spend additional money
Correct.
for a new search, so thank you.
Thank you. Just, I'm sorry.
Just a point of information, the search committee is still in effect. There has not been an affirmative vote to undo the search committee. So that committee stands at this particular point, and therefore candidates are either affirmed or rejected at this particular point. And Kimberly, it was a pleasure, and all of the search committee members that were here, it was a pleasure, and is still a pleasure to be part of the search committee with a process that everybody made a full commitment to.
I would also like to thank the members of the search committee. They did an outstanding job, put a lot of time and effort into it, and we're very lucky to have you with this institution, so thank you very much.
Any other board members have any comments? All right, next speaker is Mr. Thomas Jackson.
Good evening.
Good evening, Thomas.
Thank you again for this opportunity to speak in front of everyone. The search committee did a good job setting up the interviews like they had, everyone wanted them to do. But as everyone knows, over the past couple of days, we've had the pleasure of having two very pleasant, articulate, and very interesting women on the campus. The various groups on campus were able to ask some questions and try to get a feel on who should be the next leader of this fine institution. And then the largest, and in my own biased opinion, most important group was given the last time slot. I'm not sure why this was done, but what I am sure of is at the beginning of this whole ordeal, everyone shouted about how they wanted it done correctly because the students are the ones who will be hurt in the end. I wasn't consulted about the timing or even informed that this was happening until very late, and I'm unsure of when it was originally planned, but if it wasn't for EVP Gonzalez talking to me about it in passing, I question if I would have ever known. I also feel that the fact that the event took place so late in the summer gives the illusion that the student input wasn't really wanted. If it wasn't, if it was, I could have done it earlier in the summer when there were actually students here, or waited until next month when more of our student population will be around. These past couple of months, these past couple of days have been finals time for the last summer session, and was an ordeal to try to find and gather information on student concerns and ideas about what they would want from a future president. This shows a disconnect with the board and the student body as a whole, and in my opinion, a complete disregard of the most important constituent group on campus. I don't care if the past couple of days were for naught because of the potential of the whole search still being thrown out by the chancellor's office, but what I do care about is that the students have an active voice in the process. I was able to gather drips and drabs of concerns from students waiting financial aid, and went to the registrar to ask students there too, but only ended up helping students to register because there was no staff member available to do so. I don't feel that I'm asking too much. Every group on this campus has a plethora of people to argue and lobby in their defense, and they can all shout from the tower that this is all for the benefit of the students. But if you don't include them in the simplest part of the process, how true can that be? Thank you.
Kathy Fagan.
Hi, I'm speaking actually as a representative of the Executive Committee of the Academic Senate, as the second vice chair, and I would just like to ask the question, a question that people have been asking. Had a representative been named tonight, had a candidate been named tonight, and had that name gone up to the chancellor, did we have any expectation that that candidate was going to be affirmed? Has something changed with our relationship with the chancellor?
Not to my knowledge.
And so if we send a name up to the chancellor and the chancellor refuses to put that name forward, what does the Board of Trustees intend to do?
We'll have to we'll cross that bridge when we get
Yeah,
there.
it's a moot point because we didn't select a candidate.
I also would like to make a personal comment. This is not as a member of the Academic Senate, but I find that when the rest of the campus could pull themselves together to come here to see the candidates and speak to the candidates, I find it really very offensive that several members of the Board of Trustees could not be here tonight to see this through as they should have. Thank you.
could just make a comment on a couple of the Board of Trustees. One is in South America,
I was in the hospital.
and the other one just got out of the hospital.
So if that's offensive to you, then I guess that's a problem.
All right, so trust me, it wasn't for lack of
But
trying.
then we knew that before we went into this. If someone was in South America,
You know someone was in the
didn't
hospital.
go this morning, and if someone was sick in the hospital, we knew they were not going to be able to be here tonight. So I'm not quite sure.
The meeting was called before that.
Meetings have been changed.
Okay. Phil Nicholson?
I think I'm going to pass, and that may be the first time in 46 years.
I am so glad this is being video recorded. Something for posterity, Phil. All right. The next Finance Capital meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 17, 2013 at 5 p.m., followed by the full board meeting. The board will open the public session at 6:30 p.m. and resume the public session at approximately 8 p.m. I request a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion?
I will.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All for? Aye. Any against? No. Meeting adjourned.